The shock waves are being felt thousands of miles away in the Czech Republic, while the entire tennis world is glued to the hard courts of the California Open. The current situation has the potential to completely alter the WTA Tour's hierarchy for the remainder of the 2026 campaign. Today, a 20-year-old sensation from the Philippines tore apart a predictable script in a sport. The left-handed sensation Alexandra Eala has been pounding on the door of the elite for years, but she hasn't simply entered, she has kicked it down. Eala's performance against the World No. 13 and the newly crowned Doha champion, Karolina Muchova, was so clinically precise and emotionally resilient that it left the veteran Czech and her entire country in complete shock. It was more than just a match. It was a clash of two radically different approaches to tennis. Karolina Muchova, the WTA's chess player, was on one side. Her variation, slice, and net play make her one of the most visually appealing and challenging players to play against. Muchova had a tremendous amount of momentum going into this match. She is the established star, having just won her first ever WTA 1000 championship in Doha and reclaimed her place in the top 15 worldwide. A woman who many thought was the dark horse favorite for the forthcoming Sunshine Double, and the player who nearly defeated Igor Swiatek in a Grand Slam final. Alex Eala stood next to him. Eala is already a national hero in the Philippines at the age of 20. But she proved today that she is a force to be reckoned with. With a career-high rating of 31, Eala was a dangerous floater going into the California Open. Few, however, anticipated that she would demolish a player of Muchova's caliber with such force. These days, the Eala effect is more than simply a social media fad. The world's best players now have to deal with this tactical reality. It is impossible to exaggerate the importance of this outcome. Seeing their top-ranked player lose to a developing Southeast Asian prodigy is a wake-up call for the Czech Republic, a country that takes pride in producing world-class tennis players. It is a momentous occasion for the Philippines. This is the first time one of their own has faced and defeated a consistent Grand Slam contender in top form. We must examine the how and the why as we get ready to dissect the specifics of how this occurred. How was Muchova's fabled variety neutralized by Eala? What caused Muchova's serve, which was typically her most effective weapon, to fail her when she needed it most? And how will this affect the draw going forward? This is a close look at a game that will go down in history as Alexandra Eala's official debut on the largest stage. We are examining the statistics, the approach, the psychological tactics, and the aftermath of a result that has genuinely taken the world by surprise. At the California Open, Alexandra Eala is playing Karolina Muchova, the 13th ranked player in the world. A contest that turned everything around. We must examine the paths taken by both of these women before they arrived in California in order to see why this outcome is so significant. First up is Karolina Muchova. The year 2026 has so far been Muchova's year. Karolina eventually rediscovered her fitness after years of struggling with wrist injuries and stomach strains that threatened to ruin a career full of promise. A few weeks ago, she won a masterclass in Doha. She outthought and outfought the industry's top competitors in addition to winning. In the locker room, there was discussion that she was playing at a top 5 level, and her rating had risen back to number 13. Muchova offers a style to the game that is becoming more and more uncommon. She is more than simply a ball basher. She makes use of the whole court. Her drop shots are regarded as the greatest in the world, and she chips and charges. Muchova gives her opponents the impression that they are up against a ghost when she is in play. She never delivers them the same ball twice, so they are unable to establish a rhythm. Alex Eala is another. Eala is the unrelenting strategist if Muchova is the chess player. Eala, who trains at the Rafa Nadal Academy, has inherited the Spanish grit that is so distinctive to her, but she also incorporates it into a contemporary aggressive baseline style that is all her own. She has climbed steadily in 2026. We witnessed her flashes of genius when she shoved Coco Gauff and stunned Jasmine Paolini in Dubai. We witnessed the Eala army of supporters packing stadiums in Manila and Melbourne. However, there was always a query. Can she defeat a cunning veteran? Is she able to deal with a player who refuses to just give her pace to redirect? The answer was a clear yes from the first game of this contest. The final equalizer was Eala's left-handedness. Eala was perfectly positioned for Muchova's slice, which typically remains low and bites away from right-handers. Eala was always there, stepping inside the baseline and ripping that cross-court forehand with amazing RPMs whenever Muchova attempted to calm the tempo with a backhand slice. For Muchova, it was a tactical nightmare. The angles were against her, so she was unable to remove Eala from the court. Eala played what many observers are describing as perfect tennis in the opening set. In the third game, she punished a string of second serves that lacked their customary kick by breaking Muchova. Muchova appeared shaken. It was evident in her eyes. The knowledge that her typical strategies were failing. When she attempted to reach the net, Eala's passing shots were spot on. The entire match was summed up in a single point at 4-2 in the opening set. Muchova's drop shot was flawless. After rushing to the spot, Eala lobbed the ball over Muchova's head and used a swinging volley to complete the point. After a brief period of silence, the audience erupted. The Czech camp recognized they were going to have a tough day at that point. But there's a reason Muchova is a champion. She started to discover her range in the second set. In order to push the Filipina back, she raised the height of her shots and began utilizing her serve to more successfully target Eala's backhand. We witnessed Muchova overcome a breakdown, demonstrating the renowned fortitude that allowed her to go to the French Open final. The momentum was changing. This time frame is largely responsible for the shock that the Czech media is covering. The match was on Muchova's racket. She served to tie the match while ahead 54 in the second set. At this point, Alex Eala's psychological profile takes center stage. That strain would have caused most 20-year-olds to crumble, particularly when facing a player with Muchova's level of experience. Rather, Eala became a wall. She was not going to miss. Muchova was made to play one more ball, then another, and still another by her. Muchova's game started to revert to the unforced mistakes. Her Doha run's physical toll appeared to finally catch up with her. She wasn't moving as fluidly, and during that critical 10-minute stretch, her first serve percentage fell to less than 50%. After breaking back and holding for 65, Eala accelerated. The last game was a miniature representation of Eala's abilities. She blasted 3 consecutive winners, a cross-court forehand that left Muchova stranded at the baseline, a down-the-line backhand, and an off-the-return. No one in Olomouc or Prague wanted to read the scoreboard story as the last ball soared long for Muchova's racket. An underdog win in straight sets. This has enormous ramifications. It's a painful blow for Karolina Muchova. It was anticipated that she would advance far in order to earn a seed in the top 8 for the next Grand Slams. She may remain on the edge of the elite seeds as a result of this loss, making her journey much more difficult. The Czech media is already wondering if Eala has just discovered a formula to defeat Karolina or if the exhaustion from the Middle East swing was too much. This is a warning to the entire WTA, according to Alexandra Eala. She has demonstrated that she is capable of defeating the giants in addition to the players she is expected to defeat. Her ranking will undoubtedly rise once again, probably placing her in the top 25, an incredible accomplishment for a Filipino player. It's the statement of intent, though, which goes beyond the figures. She played with a level of tactical discipline and maturity typically associated with late 20s veterans. We also need to talk about the atmosphere. The Eala army was out in full form, and the California Open is notorious for its boisterous fans. Eala's home court advantage was brought forth by the Filipino diaspora in California, which appeared to truly startle Muchova. There was a clamor that resembled the atmosphere at the Billie Jean King Cup or Davis Cup for each point that Eala won. It's a weapon, that energy. It gives Eala a boost and obviously depletes her opponents. Eala is no longer the intimidating underdog as we move forward with the draw. She is a woman who is marked. The footage of this game is currently being watched by every coach in the top 20. Her handling of Muchova's variety is what they are examining. How she opened the court with her lefty serve and maintained her composure when the veteran began her comeback. This game marks a change in leadership for the 2026 season as a whole. The distance between the rising stars like Eala and the big three of Swiatek, Sabalenka, and Goff is closing, even if they continue to dominate the headlines. Eala's triumph over Muchova is evidence that the future generation is always prepared to become the current generation. The rest of the world should be on high alert today, while the Czech Republic may be stunned. The discussion is just getting started as we conclude this in-depth analysis of one of the California Open's most spectacular outcomes. Alexandra Eala and Karolina Muchova's match today was more than just a tennis match. It was a phenomenon in both culture and sport. It was the time when a young woman from Quezon City's perseverance paid off on a worldwide scale after she traveled halfway around the world to pursue a goal in Mallorca. The aftermath of this game will be harsh for the Czech Republic. One defeat doesn't take away Karolina Muchova's outstanding Doha title or her career accomplishments. She is still one of the most gifted players of her time. This loss, meanwhile, is a sobering reminder of how narrow the margins are in the highest levels of professional tennis. No easy rounds exist in the current game. There is a young player like Eala who is eager, gifted, and tactically sound, ready to take your place if your intensity slips by even 5%. Muchova will definitely recover. She has the character and the class to pull it off. Today, however, a stronger plan and a more resilient spirit simply outperformed her. The festivities in the Philippines are probably going to go on for weeks. The tennis player Alexandra Eala has evolved into something more. She is a representation of what can happen when skill, top-notch instruction, and unwavering determination are combined. Since she won junior Grand Slams as a youngster, she has been bearing the weight of a whole country. Additionally, today,